Timmy O'Donnell's back. Now, he's a humble guy, so he probably wouldn't want you to say this, but since last year, he got a promotion. He's now the VP of shredding and face melting at TruMethods. So congratulations, Timmy. It is great to see you. And we have a full house. We have companies here from 6 countries outside the U.S. So I appreciate the effort to be here. I see a lot of new faces, but I see some very, very familiar faces as well. I would say today, Schnizzfest 9, our 9th Schnizzfest. You know what that means? You know what comes after 9? Right? Yeah, exactly. Schnizzfest 10. But I've never been more excited to get here and be on stage and to deliver a message than I am today. I think it took me almost 10 years of knowing you and learning from you to be able to explain this business and where it's headed in the way that I want to do it today. Can you slip my slides over? There we go. So, Stanley Schnitzer was here, right? He came last year to tell us that the signs to world class were everywhere. And during my keynote, I talked about having bricks in your backpack and that you needed to focus on brick elimination, not just moving bricks for your customer. And I hope that over the past year, you've done some good work in that area, because today, we're going to build on that concept in a big way. And Stanley, he's going to invite all of us to go on a little adventure, to look back to see where we've come from, but more importantly, to see where we need to go. And well, why don't I just let Stanley tell you in his own words?
In the beginning, we were happy. Sure, things could have been better. Our revenue was uneven and margins were low in break-and-fix land. We didn't make much money, but at least we knew why. And then it started to get crowded. Soon, everyone was fixing technology that was broken. Many stayed behind, but I decided it was time to take my chances in the great unknown. So I left break-and-fix land with just my map and some trail mix. I made my way through low-margin valley, across the river tickets, and navigated the straits of unpredictable revenue. I finally made my way to MSP Town. It was everything I had dreamed. Revenue was recurring and hope was in the air. Those early days were magical. We sold new MRR at the right price every month. Our margins and leverage were increasing. Our REM was falling. It seemed as if it would never end. Life was good. But then, they came. Vendors and IT providers alike, soon the city was flooded with new tools and technology. They built a highway from break-and-fix land, and soon everyone was heading to MSP Town to make a better life. Billboards went up all over town, and they all started to look the same. I had seen this before and knew that it was once again time to pack up and head for greener pastures. I had heard a legend of a place over the commoditization mountains and far beyond the quagmire of mediocrity where IT providers could build a new life. But the path was filled with danger and obstacles. Others had attempted to reach this land of opportunity and failed. I had to try, not just for myself, but for the hundreds of TruMethods members that were counting on me to once again lead the way. There comes a time in life where you have to accept who you are. I am Stanley Schnitzer, cardboard cutout and leader of MSPs. Finally, I saw it over the horizon. Technology success world. It was beautiful. This is where we would build our future. TruMethods Schnizzers will come and grow thriving businesses. They will use my IT process to build a unique value proposition that will create true separation in the sales process. I had reached the promised land. There was only one thing left to do. Bring all TruMethods members together to show them the way to technology success world. We would need a safe place to gather. Suddenly, it came to me. Dear fellow Schnizzer, I have found Technology Success World. It's everything we had hoped for. You will find a secret map on the front of this card. Meet me at Schnizzfest on June 8th at 0800 and we will begin our adventure. Together, we will once again lead our industry to new heights. See you soon, Stanley Schnizzer.
Stanley never disappoints. He's really grown a lot over the years. I'm so proud of him. So what's going to happen this morning is we're going to look a little closer at not just Stanley's journey, where he's been and where he believes we need to go, but your journey as well. So there's a little something for you. If you see it says, do not open, you can go ahead and open that. Because Stanley told us we needed a couple things on our journey. He said that really all he had was some trail mix and a map. So inside your box is some Schnizzfest trail mix and the secret map with the personal note from Stanley on the back. So we're off to a good start. Oh, and we have a map here. We're going to get everybody to sign this before you leave. All right. So we're going to look a little closer at this. A lot of people have asked me through the years where the quagmire of mediocrity is because they wanted to avoid it. In fact, it was just about a month ago I was at an event and I met someone for the first time and I asked them a few questions about their business and I had talked about the quagmire in my presentation and he said to me, Gary, where is the quagmire of mediocrity? And I felt bad because I just had to look down at his feet. But if you go just south, there's the fields of awesomeness. And I think that's the way it is in business and life. There's a fine line, right, between the quagmire and awesomeness. You just have to know where to go. So let's start in break and fix land. How many of you have lived, or in some degree, maybe still living in break and fix land? Yeah, most of us have been there. I think back to the very beginning, back in 1996 at Dynamic Digital, where we lived 100% in break and fix land. Things were simpler to some degree. We only had to do two things: generate hardware margin and billable hours. Hopefully enough to cover our overhead. But the model was unforgiving because if we had a bad week, we didn't have a good month. If we had a bad month, we didn't have a good quarter. If we didn't have a good quarter, we didn't have a good year, which pretty much would happen every year. And people dependent. We had one person that could actually fix things. Craig, right? My partner Howard is here from Dynamic Digital. And so basically our business plan was the people that we would hire would come from the tech schools. When we made them put on a shirt and tie, it looked like it was the first time they ever put on a shirt and tie. And we could see their Megadeth t-shirt through the shirt in the back. We would send them out to appease the customer and bill some hours until Craig could get there and fix things. And then 2 months after I got to DDS, Craig left, he opened his own shop, and he took the 3 customers that liked us and paid their bills on time. Apparently they didn't really like us, they liked Craig, right? Was more like it. And so soon it became clear that things had to change, and we had heard there was a better way. So we started to make our way off to MSP Town, where we could try to leverage some new tools and create more value by being proactive. Talk to people about managing technology rather than fixing it. And the most attractive part was we were going to build a recurring revenue model. And those early days, they were magical. We were evangelizing the message of being proactive. It was new to the marketplace. We were adding tools and features. It seemed like every month we were adding something new. But soon, it became more complicated. Basically, we had the same business we always had. We had our break and fix business, doing projects. We had some block time agreements. We were doing support, some maintenance, selling hardware and software. And then we started adding features to it. After a while, we had tasks and people and tickets and alerts trying to relate them to a customer to show them value, and also trying to relate those things to us and our business model that was changing so quickly. So we kind of hit a wall, like many of you did at that same time, and had to make a change. So what we did, and what a lot of people, most of the industry to some degree or another, hopefully, has done, is we created a practice. We made it a practice area in the business. We separated it from the business we had into a new business. Because when you have a practice area, there's more focus on roles, process, workflow, metrics. And when you have that, you can tie those things to outcomes. Outcomes for our customers. What kind of results that they can expect so that they can see the proper value, and outcomes to us in terms of what are our costs, what are our price, what are our margins, what is our business model. So until that point, and you know our framework, that's the way that we did it, and it's evolved since then, but other people have their own framework. But they have roles and they have focus, and almost everyone today, if they're going to survive, they look at their MSP as a practice. Would you agree? Yes. Okay. But it did start to get crowded. I think when I started TruMethods, they said there was, in North America, 10 or no more than 15 MSPs. And today the number I hear is 35 or 40,000. Our tools are the best. We're trusted advisors. We have great people. We're proactive, right? So this is one driver, is the industry, but it's not the biggest driver. I'm going to share a bigger driver why we need to change than the competition. Separating from the competition will be a result of the real reason it's time for us again to make changes. So, we bought you some time here. We gave you the 4 blocks, superpower, chocolate cake, your company way, 5 qualities of a world-class MSP, value stack. We gave you a different way to look at your MSP practice. How's that worked out for you? Pretty good? How many people think having that view on the business is really the reason why you're here today? Yeah, okay. I'm saying now it's time, though, to create a new adventure. This is the timing and the evolution of our business where we need to do the same kind of thing that we did when we evolved and created a practice from our hourly business into our MSP business. We're going to create a practice again. We're going to take all these things, and now we're going to create a technology success practice so that we can look at this, some of the same things that we've been doing, and lead us to new things in a different kind of way, because we're going to have a different kind of focus, a different kind of priority, different workflows, different discipline around this, so that we can relate those to customers, again, in a new kind of way. So our concept of standards, alignment, impact, and strategy, we need to get much more aligned on what each of those mean. We need to go from fixing technology to managing technology to now managing outcomes for our customers, because the small, medium business market has changed in their needs so much over these past 3 or 4 years. The complexity they deal with, what they need from a provider has changed faster then MSPs have changed. I'm getting some bobbleheads, right? People are yesing me on that one. So we're going to look deeper at standards, alignment, impact, and strategy in a minute. But first, I want to talk about what these business outcomes look like. Customers now, they need to not only reach business goals, they have to make better decisions around technology. They don't have a choice. They're to the point now where they either leverage technology as a competitive advantage or it's a competitive disadvantage for them. They need to impact the big costs in their business, and they all realize that they have growing risk around technology, and they need to manage it. This is what we need to address with every single customer. And in my opinion, the current MSP model, the classic MSP model, is not set up to prioritize and deliver business outcomes to customers today. So I thought a lot about this. Bob Penland and I spent hours thinking about this. And we came up with this concept on how to explain it, which is this. All businesses, not just SMBs, but all businesses have functional areas. They have ops, sales, HR, finance, and they have IT. And then they have their expenses, SG&A, office cleaning, office supplies, phone bills, electric bills, computer support. Many of your customers and many of your prospects view technology today under SG&A. Do you know how we know? Because they care a lot whether you charge them $4,000 or $3,500, don't they? Who wants to pay more on an expense item? Because if you charge me $500 less, the way it works is we have our gross profit minus our SG&A is net profit. So $500 that I spend less with you is $500 to my bottom line. Boom. Do you know that many of the people that you meet with, customers and prospects, they spend as much money on cleaning and people that take care of their plants as they do with you? Yeah, that's what I said. And that's the truth. Sometimes people say to me, well, these business owners, Gary, I hear what you're saying about VCIO, but these business owners, they don't want to meet with us every quarter. Don't feel bad. They're not meeting with the cleaning guy either. SG&A. But we're proactive. They're proactive too. They water the plants before they die. So if you think about what happens, things usually we see trends in all areas of business happen with the Fortune 500, then the Fortune 1000. They happen in the enterprise first, and then they trickle down to our customer base. So what's happened, right, in the top 1,000 or 2 companies over the past decade? Not only has IT become a full functional area, but in most companies, it's the most strategic functional area. I remember when I first started in business, almost all CEOs came from finance. Then we went through a period where sales and marketing became more strategic. So what did we see? We saw CEOs start to come from revenue, didn't we? Today what we see is CEOs coming from technology, CTOs being promoted to CEOs, not just at technology companies, in brick and mortar companies. Why? Because technology not only supports those functions tactically, but it supports them strategically. You know, every business has a relationship with an accounting company, don't they? Even large companies that have a CFO and a full accounting department and a tax department has a relationship and pays a bunch of money to a top accounting firm. Why? Because the accounting firm does their audit, the accounting firm deals with lots of customers, so they can give them a different perspective, and they're giving them strategic advice on their tax planning, how to use their debt vehicles, how to reorganize their balance sheet and their income statement. Because it's strategic. They do the tactical, but they need outside help on the strategic. The same thing works for our customers around technology. Here's the problem. The MSP model is designed to fall under SG&A. We need to be the functional area. We like the cleaning people. They're nice people. But we deserve our rightful seat at that table. Don't you think? Yes. Absolutely. That's where we need to live moving forward. Because guess what? The stuff that's under SG&A, it's getting solved by technology more and more, isn't it? Our customers, small businesses, they're appifying. They're mobile. They're global. Right? They have a lot of the same constraints. And I'll tell you what, for our customer base, they need us at that table more than they need finance, because their finances are pretty simple, right? They're not as complex as their technology with the size companies, the target market that we have. They have much more complicated technology than they do finance. This is the way I want you to look at the business. You can almost go and look at all your customers and say, okay, which of them put us here and which of them put us there? The ones that are on the left, they're your best customers. The ones that are on the right, you got to make a decision. Why are you there? Is it them or is it you? Right? Are they not treating you in that way because you don't always consistently act and deliver in that way? And the way we need to deliver this is through a strategic business relationship. We need to deliver outcomes through a strategic business relationship. That means we need to understand how their business operates, their goals, their challenges, their opportunities. If that's what we're going to deliver, guess what we have to figure out in the sales process? How their business operates, their goals, their challenges, their opportunities. If not, are we even qualified to tell them that they should be buying what we're delivering? So why a practice area? Because we need a repeatable process, right, to deliver this. We have to have our roles, process, metrics, and focus on this concept of delivering these outcomes. Last year, I had Lincoln Murphy here on stage, and then he was nice enough to do a webinar. It's called Customer Success, the same name as the book that he co-authored, and he talked to us about success potential. And I will tell you that that concept over the last 18 months has transformed the way we do business at TruMethods. It has transformed and aligned and allow us to have the most productive year that I've ever had in my 22 years in business. And it's such a simple concept. How narrow can you get about what you deliver in a way that's different than other people? How much can you narrow that? What is it? And then look at your customers and ask, which one of them has success potential? Which one of them are on the left and which one of those are on the right? And whose fault is it? Now what happens is it can change our sales process. You know how I always say, hey, you should kind of know where you are with the prospect in the first 20 minutes? Now I can explain to you what I mean in a different kind of way. See, in those first few minutes, what you're trying to do is decide, ask questions that tell you, does this customer see us as the cleaning contractor? Or do they see us as that functional area? The ones that can see it as a functional area, if you're delivering the right outcomes with the right process that they can see and understand in a tangible way, you're going to close a lot of those. The ones that don't, you're going to talk to them a little bit more to figure out whether you can have them see things from a different way. If you can, you're going to sell a nice percentage of those. The ones that don't, get out of there as quickly as you can and move on. Because even if you can convince them to buy, which you probably won't, after 4 sales calls, and sending 2 messages to ask TruMethods when it's too late, to ask me what to do, and I'm going to tell you need a time machine, or don't take the deal. Do you know how often I get questions and my answer is, walk away, don't take the deal? That's not what we do. Yeah, Gary, but it's $11,000 a month. How much profit is it? Right? So think about it. You can walk in and now you have a clear mission. And guess what that mission is not? Guess what I didn't mention so far? I didn't mention selling whatsoever. So those of you who are business owners and doing sales and you think, well, I'm not really, sales is not my thing. Oh, this is great news for you. You get a new job starting today. Figure out if people have success potential. Because if they do, and they're buying because they want those outcomes, and you have a practice that's primarily, right, the focus, everything else supports delivering that, they're going to get the appropriate experience. They're going to get it in a timely fashion. They're going to see those desired outcomes. And they're not going to tell you they want to go to someone else who's cheaper. Are you with me? We had that conversation last night. And technology success practice is how we will deliver these outcomes. So I want to take a look. I'm not going to talk about roles today. I'm not going to talk about VCIO, net admin, or technology alignment. See, that's how we started, because that's how things normally start in the beginning. They start with some general concepts. We're going to be an MSP. We're going to be proactive. We're going to have tools. And when we started with you, we said, hey, we got this concept. It's net admin and VCIO. The same way people view very differently what it means to be an MSP, everyone views very differently those roles. So I want to talk about the process and how we need to look at each of these in a different kind of way that separates what we've done with some of these things in our current MSP practice compared to how we need to look at them moving forward to address the changing needs of our market. First is standards. I already mentioned, right, the technology is getting way more complex, and it's increasing more quickly as time goes on. Customers have legal and compliance requirements, security requirements, industry requirements, business-specific requirements. Almost everyone has or will have some type of compliance outside of ours, right, which is the most important piece. We have our default template, what's soon to be called the standards library, which is your knowledge and experience. But there's HIPAA and DFARS, NIST, PCI, ISO, GDPR. I could go on. There's all of these standards. Some of them don't even know that they're required to be aligned with them until you tell them. They have risks they haven't even uncovered. But every customer needs to know now where they go against standards, industry standards, and your specific company standards that you've developed that you know, when they're in that box, gets them the results. So, when I hear people say, you know, our guys, they don't just want to keep it going out and doing a checklist. Are they thinking about it in this way? Is that SG&A? Yes. Is that functional area? No. No. That view is not what someone looks like who's a functional area. That would be like the accountant saying, look, I come out and close the books every month. I don't want to keep having to check the books. I won't have to review your taxes every year. Can't we do it every other year? This would be the year we would skip, right, on taxes. So you need to think about where you are and how you look at standards. We believe in it so much that last year we invested at TruMethods into a standards manager the first person in our standards department. And we developed some core standards. That was really more to get people started. Most of you that are mature will not use our core technology standards. You've evolved, right? But mainly to develop the industry standards, the ones that are already out there. And we showed them in the pre-day. We released them in January. And there's 2,300 questions that are available in my IT process around HIPAA, around PCI, ISO, NIST, and others, right? So that's how much we think of it. So you need to see this as a big part of what you're doing for customers when you're sitting with them. And when you do, you'll be surprised how the pain conversation changes. When they're viewing things from SG&A, it's a struggle to find pain. When they're viewing them from a functional area, it almost just comes to you. It flows to you naturally. You know, we just updated the 2 uncovering pain webinars, and I think they're great, except that I almost want to delete them now or rename them in the figure out if they have success potential first. And someone said, Gary, both of those were good, but if you could just type up one page of all the questions we need to ask to uncover pain every single time, that would be helpful. "10 years of this, people." Right? Next is alignment. We need to look at alignment in a different kind of way. Because there's more standards that customers are subjected to, the frequency at which we look at each one of them and how often we do them is going to become critical for 2 reasons. One, we want to be able to do them efficiently. We don't want to do anything more often than we need to so that we can have the maximum amount of coverage on things. Right? Number 2, we need to look carefully about which one of those things has the greatest risk when they're out of alignment to make sure it has the proper frequency. So we need to spend time and really be thoughtful with our team about how we do this so that we can get to that objective analysis against standards. Because this is what we're going to use to analyze and drive compliance. Compliance against the standards that they're subject to, and just or more importantly, against our standards. For the right reason. So those same people who are just going out and thinking they're doing a checklist are the same people that tell me that I can tell they're out there and the main reason they're there is to figure out how they can sell some projects. Is that why we're there? No, that is not why we're there. We're there just as if we were actually their CIO, guiding them to make strategic decisions, and part of what we would do as their CIO is we would make recommendations of where they would make investments. And they're very likely, once they agree on our strategy, to take our advice. So if your customers aren't taking your advice, are you a function area or are you an expense item? Impact. Okay, now we're going to combine that objective view with the knowledge of the business. How many people here are an owner of a business and you're also the VCIO? A bunch of people. Okay, so for you, that's what I was in the beginning, right? How I was our first VCIO. We could cheat a little. We got some business acumen. We've been doing this for a while. So a percentage of the customers we meet, they make it easy for us to get a pretty good relationship with them. But I can tell you, if you're doing it, I can almost guarantee that you don't have the level of process and discipline of delivering the outcome in the same way every time. That's not what we do. Because we feel we don't have to. At some point, someone else needs to do it. We had over 150 customers. I could not be the VCIO to any of them. One important piece was teaching those people how to build a profile, business profile, or as we call it in my IT process, the new version, the strategic profile. How to ask questions about their business in such a way that we could get what we needed to be able to see where they were compared to our standards and understand where their business was headed to make good recommendations. And what happened was this. as they started to do that in the same way with multiple customers, they began to get some pattern recognition. And they were able to actually give advice that was better and more valuable, more consistently than I was able to do just using my business experience alone. What I worried would be a drop-off as we scaled turned out to be the opposite. We delivered more of our knowledge and experience to more customers more consistently. So then, once we do that, we can prioritize the risks and of their misalignments. Okay. We get the strategy. So I want to be clear. Everything we do in break and fix, everything we do in our MSP practice, and everything I've talked about in technology success up till now, all of it we do so we can get here, okay? To create recommendations that are based on that impact assessment. To be able to combine what we've learned from their strategic business profile and what we know about their compliance against our standards and industry standards, to be able to tell them and guide them like a CIO would, like the head of a functional area would, about how they need to make decisions. Then we need to add additional strategic items that have nothing to do with our standards. They're doing an acquisition. They're opening a new office. They're launching a new product. They're changing Salesforce automation systems. Each of those are their initiatives that at some point will need both tactical and strategic help from IT. Next, we combine both of those recommendations based on the client's business goals and their resources and their budget to create a strategic roadmap for every client. That will be what connects us. From our standpoint, as in our businesses, we'll be able to understand what that should look like, how active it should be, how up to date, are we doing what we said when we said we're going to do it, and that really is our guide. Are we delivering this outcome? Are we truly being that functional area for every one of our customers? And from the customer standpoint, that will be the conduit to which they see the value. That's how they'll judge us. They will have something tangible in the way they do with all of their other functional areas. Finance delivers their strategy, their recommendations, and the financials. We deliver this. So if this is not the goal and the end result and the priority of your business today, and you're focused on all the other tasks and seeing them all the same, you're going to need to change your priorities moving forward. Because the only reason we should be doing all those other things is so that we can get here. I probably should have mentioned this earlier. Well, I asked myself that question. Explaining things in this way, which is the way I've kind of always viewed it, why did it take me 9 Schnizzfest to say it in this way? And the answer I came up with is 2 reasons. 1, it's taking me time to get to know you and how you look at things. 2, it wasn't as important 3 years ago. Just on the fairway was good enough for us to build some pretty amazing businesses that I see that I'm looking around here. But it's not enough now. It's not enough today. So we're going to go and focus on delivering outcomes. When you leave here tomorrow, we're going to have a different priority than the other 40,000. MSPs. You with me on this? Are we on the right track? Okay. And we're going to help you. Guess how many people were at the user group meeting yesterday, the pre-day? Yeah. Are we heading in the right direction with my IT process? Okay. We're going to help you with that, with the platform. Training, coaching, community, peer, thought leadership, motivation, accountability. And the update will tell you how we're addressing every single one of those in a meaningful way. Technology success world. This is where we will thrive. This is where we will go and we will lead our industry. And the best part about it is all we have to focus on is execution. Because as we execute, the other things that you're worried about, which is competition or commoditization, separating from others, margins, leverage, REM, they'll all be a result of our focus on this. I promise you. Nine Schnizzfests. January 1st will be the 10th anniversary of TruMethods. Man, I think about, and I went back, I always like this time of year, I go back and I look at my journal entries early on there, and to get an idea about what I was thinking about TruMethods and what it would be or what it could be. And I want to share with you really what's changed, why I'm still here, because the mission and the vision has changed so much. One major thing that changed the direction of TruMethods was when 2011, when we launched our first Winner Circle groups. How many people here were at the first Winner Circle meeting in 2011? Yeah, a bunch of people. See, I thought when we were a training company, like we had people, I was watching what they were doing. They weren't doing the right thing. We just had to tell them what to do, and then they're going to do it. It's going to be awesome. So when we started to get together those first couple Winner Circle meetings, I said, okay, well, they're not really doing it. But now we're talking to them directly, so there'll be no communication gap. And then a couple more meetings went by, and I'm like, why aren't they doing it? Told them to do it. Told them exactly what to do. And then I started to realize it wasn't that people didn't want to do it, right? It was that everyone had different self-limiting beliefs. Everybody had different personal obstacles that were keeping them. Their intentions were all good. All of our intentions are good. But they had things, and it's interesting because I've gotten to know every one of the people that raised their hand. I know them all personally. I've gotten to see and identify their stuff, what their self-limiting beliefs are. And unfortunately for them, they've got to see some of mine, right? Of my obstacles. And really what it became was not just us for them, but more importantly, what they have become for each other is a safe place where people can call them on their BS, show them, and they could feel comfortable saying what stands in their way and getting the support they need to overcome those. We all have self-limiting beliefs that stand in our way of our business, of our career, of our life. What I want to do now is I asked a few people if they would share with me some personal stuff. So I asked them, what personal obstacle or self-limiting belief have you overcome or made progress on that has allowed you to better pursue your goals or enrich your life? And which ones have you identified that you still need to move out of the way? So the first one is, in my early years, I was always focused on the future. I felt like I was sprinting a marathon constantly under a high level of stress and rarely celebrating my accomplishments or enjoying my journey. Being present and making today's decisions has greatly reduced my stress and allowed the space I needed to enjoy my family and my work immensely more. This was sent in anonymously by Adam, who will be on stage this afternoon. And the interesting thing is, because he's also a personal friend of mine, as I've watched him understand these things about himself and address them, I've seen at the same time his business change and flourish. It's funny how that works, right? And now he's at that next stage where he feels the next obstacle is telling others versus teaching them that he struggles with. I lack clarity on how to help and effectively teach. And a majority of the time, I revert back to telling. His business is scaled. And so now a new obstacle that has something to do with him, a new self-limiting belief of why he can't do that, has presented itself that he didn't need to address before. But now he sees it, and he will address it because he needs to empower his team to continue to grow. We'll talk about that this afternoon. This has been tough for me. I have had, this is the next one. I have had to accept that my own opinion and belief can be wrong, very wrong at times. Being the guy who started the company and grew it, it's really hard to know when you're wrong and when the problems are merely obstacles that must be endured or battled through. So I've tried to be more open to conflicting ideas, accepting that my own thoughts and ideas might be flawed or wrong. Stop and listen, think about alternatives, and then reevaluate my position before moving forward. Is there anybody else in here who maybe has that same issue, right? Yeah. There's only two people, and the kind of people in this room, those that are raising their hand and those that are too embarrassed to. So again, this was sent in anonymously by Dave. And I remember the first time I spoke to Dave, it was by phone. I ended up doing a call with him, and he had his whole team on the call. And this explains exactly where they were, man. Such nice people, and they had built a nice business, other than it didn't make money. But it was a good business. I mean, they had done a good job, and the people were passionate about it, right? So I knew he was a smart business person, and so I felt really bad telling him that his business sucked. That's a lie. Not that I told him his business sucked, that I felt bad. Right? But as I've watched him change and overcome this, it's amazing to see. He's implemented as much or as many new ideas in his business as anyone that I've seen. And the results show, and because of it, he's a different person than the person I first met. I'm proud to know him. I want to read just one more. For me, I think my greatest obstacle has been me. For a long time, I didn't believe that I was good enough to be anything, really. For the most part, I've overcome this, and it's changed my outlook on life in so many different ways. For one, I actually like myself, and I have realized that I can do anything I'm passionate about and put my heart and soul into. I have more confidence, and I've come to realize that I have a voice, and I can actually add and change people's lives for the better. I've also learned not to be so hard on myself and that I deserve all the wonderful things that come my way in life. To be totally honest, I still have to work on this every day. So I'm going to keep this one anonymous. I don't want to embarrass anyone. But this person is an amazing person. The lengths they have gone to work on what they thought they were doing, which is working on their business. They're another person in our winner circle, and the support that they have gotten from others has made this kind of a change. So I guess what I'm trying to say is this is why we're here. And so I want to take just a minute. We're going to take just 5 minutes. If you look in your workbook, I got a piece of table work for you. I want you to just take 5 minutes and see if you can maybe answer this same question. What obstacles or self-limiting beliefs have you overcome that have allowed you to pursue your goals or enrich your life? Or which ones do you think you've identified that you need to address? So let's just take 5 minutes. Who came up with one that they would feel comfortable wanting to share with us before I have to call on someone? Back there, can we get a mic back here? Who's got our mics? Nobody on mics?
How you doing today?
Okay, so we didn't get to this part yet, but if you could tell us your name, where you're from. Have you ever schnizzed before? Have you ever done a schniz?
I think when maybe by myself in my office.
Your office, yeah. So if you can get your name, where you're from, and your best schniz, and then you can go ahead.
My name is Mike Ransom, like a ransom note.
Nice.
I'm from Daystar, a company called Daystar out of Newington, New Hampshire.
Awesome.
My schniz. Oh God. Kind of nervous right now.
Go ahead. All right. Good job. Okay, what do you got for us?
Say again?
What do you got for us?
Personal obstacle. The belief that my way is the only way to achieve a goal. I've had, collaboration with my team is very important. In the past I didn't realize that there's many ways to a goal, both right and both wrong, and that my way is not the only way. So that's something personally that I've had to overcome.
Yeah, and that's not an easy one, right? That's a tough one. I think a lot of us share that one. Of course, we want to believe that our way, it's our way. We thought of it. We don't want to think of the wrong way. But unfortunately, having the right way is not always the only thing we need in a company or as a leader to get to a goal, right? It's having people share and have ownership, right, in that solution. Who else? I was hoping I could get one person to cry. I want to do one more. Who else? Who wants to share one? You want to share one? Can we run a mic real quick up here? Ian? Thank you, Ian. There you go. What do you got, Ian?
All right, so my name's Ian McCrae. I'm from Ian Computers in Virginia. I get very focused on the technical aspect and the facts, and sometimes I get so focused on those things that I forget about the people and getting to know the people and enjoying that journey with the people to whatever the facts may be.
Yeah, and if it's not fun for you, it's not going to be fun for them. So, yeah, so then the next part is thinking about, well, what is it? How do I do this? What do I put in place to start to address that issue? What do I put in place to address this issue? So, that's awesome. Thank you. You often hear me say, change your business and change your life. We all need to see business and career as a platform for just that. This is the reason why it's so awesome to work in an entrepreneurial business, where we have the opportunity and the control to be able to do these kind of things in a way that many larger organizations just are not set up to be able to do. And so what's changed in my journey is that I thought we were going to tell people stuff about being an MSP. And now, if I could get you here without ever talking about an MSP, I would. If I could get you to be in a position to do this without having to add new customers at the right price and lower your ticket counts, I would do that. But that's the specific knowledge that we have at TruMethods. And so this is the platform that we'll use to help entrepreneurs and their teams do the really important work, which is using business and career as a platform. I want to read you one last one of these that I think kind of sums it up. This person said, my self-limiting belief was built around the concept of what was really possible for me and my company. I didn't know if my company could ever make more than a few $100,000 a year. It didn't change until I started to focus on achieving 20% profitability. That led me to searching for and pulling every profit lever that I could find, which turned to dramatically improving my company. The success has changed my self-image as a CEO. My beliefs about what's possible for my company and the timeline for achieving greater success, not just for me, but for my team. My team sees the success, and now they perceive a new confidence in me as a leader. They think that I can do it, so I think I can do it. And that propels me ever forward. My instructors in the Army call that the leadership high, and it's powerful. Now that I have succeeded for them, so they'll be able to maintain their faith in me. I've become a little addicted to that faith. It's a healthy addiction, I think. And this is a great example because, see, like many people, he started out and he thought the goal was to make more money, which he did. He makes a lot more money. But that really wasn't what he was going to get. That really wasn't the goal. The goal was to figure out the rest of it. it revealed other beliefs, self-limiting beliefs that he had to deal with and overcome. And when he did, not only did his company change, but he changed. His team saw him differently, and now he sees them differently. I'm hoping that this is one of the reasons why you're here. Because everything else will come and go. Money comes in and money goes out. We all take the same amount with us on that last day. Right? So everything I talked about this morning that I want you to work on and implement is to move tickets and stress and money out of the way so that we can focus on the work of breaking free of those self-limiting beliefs and pursuing life with passion and purpose. We spend too much of our time with each other and at work not to be able to do that. And you know what? It's something that we have more control over than we do other areas of our lives. Because outside of work, there are ups and downs, there's tragedies. All of us experience them. But man, knowing that you have something that's steady in your life, something that you're passionate about, something that's a positive thing of helping you be the best you can be, it's a huge thing for all of us. So, I'm saying today, it's been a great decade. Many of us have been through the whole decade together. It's been a great decade here at TruMethods that we're coming up on. But we're preparing for the next decade. And I believe strongly that it's time for our next adventure. We are not going to be just one of those 40,000. Our customers' needs, our market needs have changed. They're demanding more, they need more, and the people in this room, all of us together, we're going to be more. And I can promise you this, when we get there, when we get to technology success world, it will not be crowded. And it will not be crowded for some time. Because if people are really honest with themselves, the highway from break and fix is still pretty packed. It's pretty packed today. And you know what's happening with our industry right now? I heard a term in the last year I never heard before. Technology success provider. Is anybody, technology solutions provider, a different DSP. Technology solutions provider. I'm going to put that into the TruMethods translator. You know what it means? Reseller. Our industry wants us to solve these complex issues with point solutions, with more technology. Oh, you have a phishing issue. Oh, well, we're going to train you. We're going to use KnowBe4. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be using KnowBe4. I think we use it, right? Yeah, we use it. It's just another SG&A expense. It's tactical. It's not strategic. We're not going to build the relationship I described today by adding more point solutions. When we develop that relationship, will we add more solutions? Yes. You see the difference? It's a huge difference. And good for you, bad for SMBs, I get to meet a lot of MSPs. And I can tell you, based on the questions that they ask and the things they share, they are not even close to thinking about the things that we're talking about today. And as you pursue this, you're going to have the same issue that I have the next time you go to another industry event and someone tells you that they're a trusted advisor or that they have VCIOs. You're going to cringe. Right? Because you're going to know that their definition and your definition, they're a lot different. Right? And won't it be great on this new adventure when we sit down in front of a prospect with no pressure, just trying to figure out Are they SG&A, or do they understand the functional area? Doesn't that sound relaxing and fun? Yeah, that's where we're headed. So, I only have one question left to ask. Who's ready to join me and Stanley Schnizzer on a new adventure? Can I get a hey-o? Hey-o. Okay. Thank you.